By no means am I ready for that. There is, unless they've changed it when I looked at the forecast earlier, there is a 90-degree day in the forecast this week for Thursday.
Oh, my goodness.
90. Now, there's no sense in that.
No. We're 15, 20 degrees above normal.
Yeah, there's no sense in that. And today, matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, this is the official frost deadline for Catawba, Lincoln County, that area.
Okay.
April the 15th.
Yeah.
Normally don't get frost after that. Well, we're not even have to sneak up on a frost.
Well, it was 35 degrees
Saturday morning?
Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was chilly.
It was minus 14 at that golf tournament on Friday afternoon.
That you played
It was
in.
cold.
And windy. It was cold over the weekend and pretty windy.
Now, I had on a light quarter zip pullover and a short sleeve shirt underneath. And after we got going, we teed off at 1. After we got going, I was able to lose that long sleeve, but about 3:30, I had to put that puppy back on. It had done cooled off.
Yeah.
It was a little bit cool, yeah.
The cold front was moving in because, Saturday morning it was very chilly.
Yep. I would say cold weather's gone. We may have a sneaky frost come in. I don't think so, but we'll have to wait and see. Give us our lineup for tonight, sir.
We're going to talk a little baseball a little bit later on this hour. Douglas Locascio, who's the general manager for the Hickory Crawdads, is going to join us. There were a couple of guys on the Crawdads team, not this time last year, but in August of last year, that are now playing with the Texas Rangers at the big league level. They went from A-ball to the major leagues in less than a year, which is very unusual. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about that, and then the new basketball coach at LR, Brent Owen. We've confirmed that, and you've talked to him. And
I met him Friday at the golf tournament.
He's
going to
join
Coach
us.
Sosha.
Yeah. He's going to join us later in the hour, about 6:45. We'll talk a little basketball as they got some recruits coming in, my understanding is. So, it'll be nice to meet him for the first time.
Good. And we do. We have a little arrangement with the Hickory Crawdads that we can hook you up with some tickets if you'd like. We do a little advertising trade, and great folks to work with. Have worked with them for years and years.
Yeah.
It's a great product to go up there. And I mean, it's no Savannah Bananas. That's a whole different animal than anything else. I saw they were in Durham this past weekend, maybe.
Yeah.
Now, are they in the same league as the Crawdads?
No. They are, I believe, in the same. They used to be in the same league as the Crawdads. I think they're in the league with the team from Gastonia.
The Honey Hunters. Well, there's something else now since that organization went belly up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they brought in another team.
Yeah.
It's actually serious about baseball, from what I understand.
But the Savannah Bananas are just the Harlem Globetrotters of minor league baseball is what they are.
Yeah.
That's all they are.
They're pretty entertaining, though.
They sure are.
I'll give you that. They're pretty entertaining.
They are one of a kind.
Yeah. Steve Lowe, good evening. Steven said, what's your first impressions of spring practice and the outlook for the season for the Bears?
They are trying to build depth, but I watched the 2 times they scrimmaged. I thought offensively they showed a lot more than you would expect them to do with the new offense and it being spring, but they were more than vanilla. I mean, they spread it out. They threw the ball more than I thought that they would, but they're going to have some talent coming back. There's plenty of depth at running back and at wide receiver. They got a veteran quarterback who played last year, who led the country in completion percentage. Defensively, their front line's pretty good. I don't know if they have enough depth. They got an All-American and All-Conference linebacker back, and their secondary's a little bit questionable. That would be the one thing, but little frog in my throat again. It's that pollen outside. But I was impressed. I think they did adjusting to the new systems, offense and defensively. Thought they did pretty well. They're going to have to establish some depth. I think they want to have some areas through the portal. They want to pull guys in to maybe fill in some of the spots. But right now they have, I want to say, 15 or 16 starters back off the team last year that made it all the way to the Final Four. So I think they're in pretty good shape. Knock on wood, they stay healthy. They had a couple of injuries. Their All-American running back and one of their All-American wide receivers and punt returners both were out with injury Saturday. Mm-hmm. And if they can recover and be okay, I think a conference championship would be right in line for what they're hoping for.
Okay. I was first time I participated in the LR Gridiron Classic is what it's called. And Coach Sosha had a bunch of the kids out there, a bunch of players. They kind of just walked around, mingled their way around the golf course and, talking with folks. And I was impressed with what I saw. They looked good on the hoof, I'll put it that way. And I like the direction they're going. I mean, everything changes, and it changed quickly. When Coach Jacobs got the nod to go to Mercer, and with what he's done, based on what you're saying, he's got a lot accomplished in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, he did. And to do that, to keep the recruiting going, keeping a couple of guys on staff that were here prior to, a couple of young guys that are go-getters. He brought in most of his staff where he was at before down in Florida. And they have a nice, very young staff, primarily.
A lot of those guys were there as well.
Yeah, and so, I mean, they hit the ground running, and they finished up the recruiting, and next thing you know, spring practice started, and they got their 15 practices in. And then the second season starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
The portal reopens tomorrow for the next until, I guess, the end of the month. And I just think, 15 days, kids can go in the portal and sign and go elsewhere, and that's all fine and great, but it's still craziness out there.
I heard a little joke. It's kind of a joke. Coach Calipari made a funny, and they said he's really good at one-liners. That they asked him about, moving to Arkansas and the team, and he said, I went in to meet the team, and we don't have a team. So I guess everybody transferred out.
A bunch of them did. I want to say 9 or 10 players did.
Yeah. My guess is he will do it different at Arkansas than what he did at Kentucky because it didn't work. Now,
it depends on what you consider work. They didn't win the NCAA tournament games at least the last few years, but they got 5 stars in there, and they got guys that are going to the NBA. But maybe he'll do something in between.
If you were an alum, is that what you'd want?
Oh, no, probably not.
Okay.
But if I'm a player, I'm going to go there because I know Coach Cal will get me in the NBA in 1 year.
Okay. But I'm just saying, I'm not sure his new employers will have that same outlook.
No, no, but they're paying him almost as amount of money that he had at Kentucky. So
But they may have different requirements.
They might.
What's his name, Danny Hurley? He's been able to do it with a combination of recruits, maturity, portal, but it's not just about and I don't know, and I'm trying to remember. There wasn't a ton of NBA talent on those Final Four teams that were first round NBA picks, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I'm not. I think you're right.
I'm just excited to see college basketball get back to college basketball. I was listening to Dan Patrick today, and they were talking about when they do the All NBA team that they've got to get out of position because NBA basketball is positionless. You can't find for 3 teams 3 centers.
No, you can't. You can't.
At least in college, you still see that. They still play a lot of basketball. A lot of the good teams that go deep play by position.
Yeah. Big
men back to the basket. That kind of thing. And I want the two to be different. They were also talking about how in the NBA and baseball, very seldom do you have that top 5 pick that becomes an instant starter, an instant contributor. It takes years of time. What they were talking about was how the NFL rushes players out on the field when they first sign. In the NBA, Victor Wembanyama, they had him down to like 18, 20 minutes a game. That was it.
Yeah.
They needed to get him used to the long schedule, to the rigors of the play, get some meat on him, those kind of things. And in baseball, you find very few kids that they sign, even for first-round signees that are going to the show. They're going to come through the ranks.
And that's funny that's true. It's true, well over 90%, 98%
NFL
of the time.
is the only one that expects you, if you're a high draft pick, to be a contributing starter the next year.
Unless you are of certain positions. I don't know if they expect, unless you are a very high draft pick and you're an offensive lineman or a tackle, but if you're another lineman, do you want to step in slowly because that's the last unit to usually gel and come together? But it's funny you mentioned that in baseball, and we'll ask Doug Locascio. There was a guy on the Crawdads last year that played for them in August. And he's the starting outfielder now for the Rangers. He played in college now, but he's a starting outfielder for the world champion Texas Rangers as a rookie.
But he wasn't. He's a guy that's probably got a lot of innings under his belt.
He's 22 years old and an outfielder. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's still different than these kids that come straight out of high school.
And you're talking about positions in basketball. And we'll ask Coach Owen again. Ties into what you're just saying. On his team that he played last year at Eastern New Mexico State, he had not one, Landy, but he had 2 7-foot centers. One of them is 7'3", and the rumors are he's the one coming to LR through the transfer portal. 7'3". And so, yeah, he did play a position, and he had another 7-foot center. I think they're both from, I can't remember. One of them's from Poland, I know that. But he did have positions. You have the guard, you have the off guard or shooting guard, or then you had
point
center.
Guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center.
Yeah.
And they all had different responsibilities.
Yeah.
That's the way I remember basketball.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what his team was like this year, but I don't guess that if you had 2 7-footers in there, they weren't standing outside the 3-point line.
Twin Towers. Yeah. And it's looked at, and it's all about
and how many
what you want it to be.
How many programs at all now have 7-footers?
Oh, yeah. I know.
Especially at a Division II school.
Well, it'd
be if he winds up at LR, it'd be by far the tallest player that's ever worn a uniform.
Yeah.
At LR. They had a 7-footer a couple of years back, but never 7'3".
That's a lot of youngin'. Yeah. Let me take a break. Doug's our first man up.
Yes, he is.
All right, we'll be back. We'll talk with Doug Lacoste. He is from the Hickory Crawdads. Back in a moment.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stifel Nicholas can assist you. Call Ford Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange.
And welcome back. I have to switch it up here. One of these days I'm going to fix that sound card. Glad to have you along here on a Monday evening. Still warm outside. I got 83 degrees is what I'm showing. We'll go straight to our phone lines and bring our next guest on, Doug Locascio. Doug, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you all for having me tonight.
You know, Juju refreshed my memory, and I know that I know this, or I knew this, and that your claim to fame was wrestling.
Yeah, I wrestled collegiately at Campbell University. I am a proud fighting Camel.
What weight class?
I was 133, so a lot lighter in my younger days.
Oh, okay. You know, I make fun of the wrestlers now because I'm so old that when I came through high school, there was 185, 195, and then heavyweight. And heavyweight was not just heavyweight, it was considered unlimited. I wrestled a number of 400-pounders in my high school career. And now they've got a 285 weight limit. You can't weigh. That's as big as you can be in high school is 285. I think I got a 215 and then 285. Woo. But yeah. I was in the 240, 250 range when I was in high school. But I wrestled a number of kids in the 300 and 400-pound range.
Ooh, wow, yeah. And then even the 14 weights in high school, it goes down to only 10 weights in college. So
yeah,
and 285 is still the highest, but there's no 215. It's 197 up to 285.
Wow.
And Campbell actually just had their second career All-American. Their heavyweight, Tay Gadiali, claimed All-American status. So the only second All-American in Campbell wrestling history.
That's awesome. I didn't realize that so many schools don't even have wrestling on the
they
collegiate
really
level.
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, more and more getting cut to this day, either because of Title IX or just different things. But, you know, Campbell really has turned their program around, and it's a great thing to see huge alumni support. It's one of those kind of sports that relies on that.
Oh, yeah, it does. It does. But they're loyal. They're very loyal if you've got a solid – the one that always comes to mind to me is Appalachia, because Appalachian's always been so solid with their wrestling program. And part of that, they've had a coach that's been there forever.
Correct. So you're probably losing viewers or getting booed right now for me talking about Campbell, because App State and Campbell have a huge rivalry going on right now. And so Campbell took the regular season, dual meet title, and App took the conference title. But there is a huge rivalry between the two schools. Listen,
rivalries are good for you. That's really good. So let's talk a little baseball. Baseball's already underway, and you've got to admit, this type of weather this early in the season is very unusual. I've heard folks talk about they should have, when baseball gets started, especially on the major league side, they should schedule everything either down south for home games or indoors, and stop going to Detroit or Chicago or New York in the middle of April, because the weather's just not fit.
It is unpredictable, So obviously you take the South Atlantic League, which we haven't had to go up there yet in the early months. But technically, we could go as far north as Hudson Valley or Brooklyn, New York, Jersey Shore. So the Blue Claws just left us. They were here last week, and they said when they left, it was 34 degrees and snow flurries, and they came down here. But, they got down here, and we battled rain the first part of the week, and then got rained out Thursday, doubleheader Friday. At first pitch, it was 58 degrees with a 25-mile-per-hour wind. And so by the start of Game 2, it was in the 45. So for us, that was freezing cold.
Yeah.
And then you turn it around to Saturday, and it's mid-70s. And yesterday was in the 80s.
Yeah.
And today, it's perfect baseball weather.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Welcome to North Carolina. If you don't like the weather, go to sleep, wake up the next day.
That's
and
right.
It'll change.
It'll change. You know, one of the other things, NASCAR does it and golf does it. When they start their seasons, because they start early in February, everything's either on the West Coast, down through Florida. They don't really do a whole lot until the weather gets better, gets a little more predictable. Baseball's just never done it. I know some of the opening day games were up north, and the weather was just ugly for the start of Major League Baseball.
It's always a toss-up. You never know what April's going to bring you. I've been a part of some opening days when it's been sunny and 75. I've been a part of other opening days where it was 42 degrees.
Yeah.
I think Juju can tell you the story of 1993 and the home opener of the Crawdads. The stadium didn't get the opening permit till 2 hours before gates opened, and that was because I think 2 weeks before opening day was the 12 inches of snow. Is that right, Juju?
Yeah, it was up there. It was at least 10 inches. Yeah, we had a major snowstorm. And
and you were trying to open up the ballpark.
Yeah, and it wasn't. I'm surprised that they were able even to pass code because the roof wasn't finished. The parking lot was still dirt and gravel. They had not paved the parking lot yet. The roof didn't have a roof was completed. If there was any kind of dust up or anything, I mean, it was like a dust storm. But yeah, they just passed, I guess, the bare minimum back then. And I've done games before where in April there have been snow flurries. And their guys are out there playing baseball in North Carolina in the snow.
Exactly. And then you got these guys that are international, and they're coming over here from the Dominican Republic or Venezuela. They've never seen a thing of snow, so they are bundled up to a T and ready to go. So we weren't that cold, but with the breeze, it sure felt like it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I had a chance to take my school on our kids to the education day on Wednesday. It was an hour and a half delay, I guess, and they did play a game, and it lasted probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours. They just flew through it. They flew through that game pretty quickly. We almost stayed for the entire game, and we had to get back to school. But I noticed that you're talking about the weather. Some of the players, their averages were not very good. I don't know if that had to do with any of the weather. What kind of team do the Crawdads have this year after coming off what was a really good year last year?
Talent-wise, we are actually ranked. Baseball America has us ranked the 7th best team prospect-wise of all of minor leagues. So AAA, AA, high A, low A. We are the 7th best ranked opening day roster. But with that, we are severely young. So the Rangers are challenging a lot of these guys. We have our starting shortstop is the youngest guy in the South Atlantic League. He's only 18 years old. Wow. Sebastian Walcott, only 18. Our center fielder just turned 19. He's the 3rd youngest in our entire league. So you have these guys, they're going up against, 23, 24-year-olds. And so I think when it all comes to, I think they scored 3 runs in the first 5 days. So really we're struggling. And then it just took that one little fire, and things started clicking. Yesterday we put up a 10 spot. We hit a grand slam, first home run of the season for the team. And you just saw it was like a weight lifted off their chest. And, even the way they played, we still split this past week. We went 3-3 with Jersey Shore. But last year's team, we won the second half. But we actually we had a 12-game losing streak during the season. So it's not unheard of, and kind of laugh and say, let's get the bad stuff out early and let's turn it around quick. And as we head to Greensboro to start this week, another good favorable hitter's ballpark. So I'm really excited to see if our bats can continue off of the streak that we hit yesterday.
Tell us, our listeners and our viewers, the story of Wyatt Langford, 4th overall pick in all of baseball last year. He's playing with the Crawdads in August, and today he is the starting outfielder for the Texas Rangers in the big leagues, the defending World Series champions. Tell us his story and how he was able to jump so many levels and be in the big leagues in 6 months later.
Yeah, so I mean, really, you can. We'll start with him. Well, actually, you mentioned him, and we'll follow up with him. But first, if you look at the left fielder, Evan Carter, 2 years ago, Evan Carter was a second-round draft pick of the Rangers during COVID, kind of unheard of out of Tennessee, and was in high A baseball in 2022. Started out in Double A in 23, finished with the big league club because of an injury, and ended up very well could have been World Series MVP.
Yeah.
So he's 21 years old, out in the outfield, manning every day. Wyatt Langford, you talked about, the Rangers the draft, that was the first year of the lottery system. So technically the Rangers, based on record, were supposed to be the 8th overall draft pick of last year's draft. Well, with the lottery system, their ball got picked, and they ended up getting the 4th overall pick. They got to move up to the 4th overall pick. I don't know quite how the lottery system works or anything like that. Maybe that's for another conversation after we do some research. But so they move up to the 4th overall pick, and Wyatt Langford from University of Florida dropped to them. They said there was 4 guys that could have gone number 1 in any other draft, but this draft was very loaded with pitchers. Wyatt Langford drops to number 4, and so they started him. He went out to Arizona probably for a week, came here to Hickory, was in Hickory for 4 weeks, and then moved from Hickory to Double A, played 2 weeks in Double A, and then 1 week in Triple A just because of the staggered schedule, and then went to spring training, and the Rangers said, hey, see what you can do, if you show us you got it, then you're going to make the opening day roster. And sure enough, he led all of Major League in RBIs. He led all of Major League in hits during spring training and showed that his bat could contend and that he could live up to it. And so they found him a spot. And, he's adjusting as a designated hitter. He plays a little outfield, but they've got pretty good outfielders. They got Adolis Garcia, Evan Carter, and then center fielder. My mind just slipped, and he played here in Hickory, but he's young too. So they've got 3 solid guys. So now with the 4th, but they're giving him every day at bats, and he's holding his own.
That's amazing for somebody 22 years old like that. The last time I remember seeing somebody that jumped the big leagues that quickly, you got to go all the way back to the mid-'90s that when I guess it would have been the Braves farm system. I'm thinking it was Macon at the time. It may have been Rome. I'm not sure. But Andrew Jones played against the Crawdads in April and May, and he was in the World Series that fall.
Wow.
With the Braves.
Wow.
With the Braves.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And, and it just speaks, I think the the Rangers' mentality with him, they saw it, and they're like, well, he's faced SEC pitching. So, SEC is such a high caliber of talent, they kind of associated that to the high A, Double A level. So they're like, and it's insane. Looking at his college stats, he didn't even start for Florida his freshman year. I think he had a total of 8 at bats his freshman year, and just took off his sophomore year and junior year. Led all of college baseball with home runs, I believe, and just skyrocketed his draft value. And they don't even think he's peaked yet. They think he's just on an upward climb, and it's exciting as they aim to defend their World Series championship.
When he was here and he and Evan Carter, did you get jerseys signed or bobbleheads ordered? Are those guys going to be still part of the Crawdads history?
Oh, absolutely. So last year we actually did an Evan Carter bobblehead, and this year we're doing a Wyatt Langford bobblehead. So we've got one scheduled. Wyatt Langford's in August. He'll be wearing it's the Hickory Dickory Docks. He played here while we were the Hickory Dickory Dock, the alternate identity, and we got a real good picture of him and his batting stance. And so he's doing that in a bobblehead form. We're doing that this year in honor of also the Rangers winning a World Series. We've got 3 mystery giveaways that they are Ranger inspired. We just can't say what they are because of the until the Rangers release. And so there's a mystery-inspired 3 Ranger, giveaways from that aspect in honor of their World Series. We're working. Nothing is firmed up official, but we are trying our best to have the World Series trophy actually visit LP France, so our fans can see. On our roster, on the World Series roster, we had 9 guys
That's
that
amazing.
played in Hickory that were on the World Series team, and so it's just really cool.
Do you? I didn't see you wearing it the other day. Do you have a World Series ring?
I do not. No, the players just got theirs, and so players got theirs that Saturday of their opening week. Texas Rangers staff, I believe, get theirs today, and affiliate staff, so like managers and different people like that, they'll have a special ceremony where they'll get theirs next week. So I have not officially been told if I'm getting one or not. So it will be a nice surprise if I do. But those look amazing.
They're the biggest rings I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
And I tell you, just the details that go. I've never I've always known stories about championships, but just the amount of details and thought that goes into it, in the amount of diamonds or in the amount of stones. When you flip it upside down, it actually spells out road, and the road is each of the teams that the Rangers played, because they went 11-0 on the road in the playoffs. So the R was for the Rays, the O is for Orioles, A is for Astros, and D is for Diamondbacks.
Wow.
And so that was just the sequence that they won in, and they went 11-0. So they had to put that on the ring. And it's just really cool, how they did all those features and everything with that.
I was going to ask you, and before I forget it, Ford Rembert wanted me to make sure and tell you that he said hello. Ford does shows with me in the mornings.
Absolutely. Mr. Rembert is, we can't wait. We can't thank Athletes Lab enough for their partnership. They've always been great, where if we ever have bad weather for consecutive days,
Yep.
they let our guys come out there and train.
Yep.
And they're phenomenal there at Athletes Lab.
Yep, they do a good job with that. I had one question that I wanted to ask, and I may have asked you this the last time. When you're in 1A ball, where you're at, what's the main objective? Is it win championships? Is it prepare players to move up through the system? What is the main goal, or what are you after? Or do you just kind of roll it all into one?
You roll it all. Each organization has their own philosophy. The Rangers, it's based solely on developing, but they want to develop the players individually, but also as a team, and they believe in team culture. They have a firm belief that if the players win at our level, then they're going to expect to win at the next level. Then when they get to the next level, they're going to expect to win at the AAA. And then when they get to the majors, the expectation is always to win from that. In the same sense, it is about development. With pitchers and stuff like that, you'll see a couple pitchers, and some people will be like, why the heck is all he throwing his changeup? He's getting hammered. They're just keying on it. Well, his objective for that game might be to do first pitch changeup strikes. And eventually the visiting team's going to catch on. But usually I've had a manager tell me about from the 7th inning on to the end of the game, that's when they truly get to manage.
Yeah.
The first inning 1 to inning 6 is pretty scripted, from that standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
But they ultimately want to win, and that's what the Rangers want. They don't want the guys just going out there going through the motions and being high players. They want them to be we players and truly about the team, but also they want them to be. They just want to be community involved. They want these guys to learn that little Austin Smith that's watching them on the weekend, that they can be an impact on that guy, that to never be too big and above the game, because the game can quickly ground them. Juju mentioned that we had an hour-and-a-half delay for our education day. Well, a lot of those schools, they had to leave early and stuff like that. What our coaching staff said is, hey, we're about to go into another delay, or we're not starting yet. Let me send 3 of our guys up there so the schools at least can see the players, can get some autographs. So 3 of our guys went up and walked the concourse, signed autographs, took pictures, just because they could be that kid's idol and something that
cool.
Kid could look up to.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it was just really neat.
That's absolutely awesome.
Sure is.
Absolutely awesome. We appreciate your time, and I'm sure we'll chat with you again as the season goes on, and we appreciate the partnership we have here at WLON as well.
we can't thank you guys enough. We look forward to seeing y'all at the ballpark, and I can't wait to be back on the show. And if I get one of those rings, I'll definitely be sending some pictures, and we'll share it. So
we look forward to it. Douglas, thank you. Have a good evening, sir.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me on.
Thank you. That's Douglas Lacasia. Yeah, he is excited about what he does. And I've always wondered that because some of the games I've been to, I watch them completely come apart because they play all these different pitchers at the end of the game. So, I understand. I understand that it's about development, but you got to have the win side too. So it's nice to know what the Rangers do.
It's not developing everybody, and he didn't mention it, but there are certain guys that are, draft picks or whatnot that they want to get their development pushed forward a little bit more, right? A little quicker, as opposed to other guys who are kind of like fill-ins to the roster.
Yeah. I will mention this because you said Andrew Jones. I got my little care package from the Braves this year. I got a hat, and I got a T-shirt, and I got some stickers, and I got a koozie, but I also got an Andrew Jones bobblehead.
Oh, you do?
Yep,
okay.
I'll show you that. Let me take a time out. We come back. Is it Brett or Brent?
It is Brent.
Brent. I always mess those up, and Kiever gets mad at me when I do because his son's name is Brent.
Yes.
Not Brett, I think. Okay, we'll take a break. Back in a moment.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stifel Nicholas can assist you. Call Ford Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange.
And welcome back. Glad to have you here on a warm Monday. David Keeper was by here earlier, and the one thing Keeper said, at least it's not humid yet. Now, that's coming. That's just around the corner. The humidity has not built up as we speak. We'll go back to our phone lines, bring our next guest on. He is the new basketball coach at Lenoir-Rhyne, the 20th head coach in Lenoir-Rhyne history, Brent Owen. Brent, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. And I don't know if you remember, I met you Friday at the golf tournament, and of course, Jack Huss was introducing me to all kinds of people, so that's kind of the way that it works. But glad to have you part of the LR family.
Thank you so much. So glad to be here, and yeah, pleasure meeting you and meeting so many other people this weekend at the golf tournament, and then at Barapalooza. We've really hit the ground running, trying to get to know as many people as we can, as fast as we can, and love it here so far.
There's not much downtime when it comes to doing the things that you do, especially when you change environment.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been a roller coaster. We got offered the job last Wednesday at 3 p.m. 48 hours later, my wife and I had packed our entire house into boxes.
Wow.
And left it there for the moving company. We left at about 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon. We drove 22 hours with our 7-year-old son and our 3-year-old son. We had 2 cars, so we had to drive them both. So the boys rode with me, and I had my hands full. That was great. And then, yeah, we got here, and it was get right to work. I guess I just finished my 4th practice with the team so far, so we jumped right into that piece. It's been office pretty much every night till midnight, and back at it about 8 in the morning, and making a little bit of time in there for dinner with my family, and got my son in school at Oakwood Elementary today for the first day, so we're moving quick.
Coach, when this is Juju, by the way, glad to talk to you. We only exchanged texts. I missed you on Friday, and had tried to run into you on Saturday. I was up in the press box doing some football stuff, but you said it's been kind of a whirlwind. What sold you on coming to Lenoir-Rhyne in the first place?
Yeah, no question, the leadership at the university. That is so important when you're looking at a job where, if I wanted to be in and out of somewhere, that wouldn't matter a lot to me, but I really want to be here a long time. And so just looking at the leadership and their outlook on athletics and their goals and their mission and their investment, just in my talks with Dr. Witt, he was off the charts. Really understands athletics. He played college athletics himself, so he has he really gets, the importance of it and the value of it beyond just, the field and the impact that it has on, these young men and women's life. And then, Vice President Pate, she was great. Really wanted to get to know me personally on the personal side, and really she was digging into, my values just as much as she was digging into, my X's and O's philosophies, and I felt like our values really aligned. And then on top of that, we really wanted to find a great place to live. We had lived in a place where there were great people, and we really appreciated all of them. But it was a hard place to live in terms of, it was 11,000 people, and there wasn't a whole lot going on for my kids to do and my wife to do. And we're so thankful to be in a community like Hickory that's just beautiful in every way. And, we're getting ready to go get a nice dinner at a nice restaurant tonight, and we're just really enjoying, being in this community. And also, it put me a little bit closer to family, but I see a ton of potential, I guess, and with the the leadership that you have and the resources that we have here. I see a ton of potential in this program, and we're hoping to take it to a level that maybe it hasn't gone to before.
You mentioned about practices. You've had 3 or 4 practices already. How will you go about, or what is your philosophy on roster building in this day and time and the craziness that is college basketball now?
It is. It's an interesting situation. It's all everyone's philosophy has been completely turned upside down in the last 4 years. I don't care what your philosophy was. Everything has changed since the transfer portal was introduced, and they keep giving more and more opportunities to be able to transfer more times, and unlimited transfers is we're looking at that right down the pipe right now. So I still believe in trying to build your foundation of your program with freshmen. Particularly if you can find local freshmen to build your program with, they've got a reason to stay. Hopefully that gets them to stick around, and that allows your culture to withstand the year-by-year changes. So the idea is you build it with freshmen, 2 or 3 good freshmen every single year. Then you've got your core of 8 to 10 guys who are there for the long haul. And then when you bring in the transfer from the portal or from junior college, they kind of they're forced to fall in line with the rest of them. And it's when they show up, there's already a culture established, and those guys who are here for 4 years can kind of say, hey, look, this is how we do things. And that takes a lot of pressure off the coach on, having to, kind of rebuild that culture piece every year. So that's the idea is we say find great freshmen that want to be here and, be smart about finding junior college players who want their degree, and then just be really wise in the portal with making sure that you're recruiting guys who want to win more than they want to just put up numbers and move on to the next spot. So that's kind of our philosophy. And then we want to be big. That's a really important piece for me. We want to be big inside. We want to be able to score inside one-on-one. We want to have length and strength on the wings and be really big and strong and physical. We want to lead the league in rebounding. So, the bigger, stronger guys you got, better chance you have at that. So that's been a big key. And we've already signed 4 guys. They're going to be announced this week. And you will see a much bigger team on the court next year with these 4 guys we just signed as well. So we've got 2 7'3" center, a 7-foot center, a 6'8" freshman, and then a 6'2" shooter that was with me at Eastern New Mexico last year that made 62 threes for us there as a sophomore. He'll be a junior. So already got 4 guys on the way, and we'll see how they fit with this crew that we have. And that's kind of how we're doing it right now. I'm really taking this time to evaluate the guys on our team, and I want to give them an honest opinion of where I see them fitting right now, and make sure they're comfortable with that, and then also giving them things that they can improve over the summer. So a lot of moving pieces, but that's the gist of the philosophy. Build it with some tough guys that want to be here.
You were saying that if you were looking at your roster right now, I had heard last week about a 7'3" center. Are you saying that those guys are, whenever you make it official, those guys are going to be part of the Bear program?
I am, yeah. They've actually signed and been approved by compliance. So I can actually, I guess I'll go ahead and just announce it on here. Yeah, we've got Conrad Luchinsky. He'll be a sophomore coming to us from by Chicago, Illinois, by way of Eastern New Mexico University. He'll be a really good asset on and off the court for us. A great culture kid. Everybody will love him. Everybody will know him. He's a very outgoing young man. But he's got some pretty good skill for being 7'3". He can run. He can pass. He can make a free throw. But the big piece is, when he catches it on the block, he demands a double team. And then he's a capable passer. He has pretty good vision, and he's a smart basketball player. So, if you're going to double him, he's going to find the open man, and that makes offense pretty simple. And then Jackson Coral will be joining us. He's from Canada. Was also with me at Eastern last year. He'll be a 7-foot sophomore. Great young man. We nicknamed him the Polar Bear last year. So it's interesting that he's going to be joining the Bear program. He's going to fit right in right away. But he is about 290 pounds. Just a wide body 7-footer that just he can move anybody. And he is a load to handle in the post for anybody on defense. We'll be adding Shim Sawi. He is a freshman out of Canada, so he played on the same prep school team as Jackson Coral did. We were recruiting him at Eastern New Mexico, and he called me to commit to Eastern New Mexico, and I said, hey, I got a surprise for you. I got a much better place that you can call home the next 4 years. And showed it to him and kind of gave him a little bit of a campus tour via Zoom, and he's all in. He's signed and committed. And then Junior Hodnett is the other one. He was my first recruiting class at Eastern, been with me for 3 years. We recruited him. He was 155 pounds, but he was the best shooter in the state of New Mexico. And we gave him a partial scholarship and just said, we're going to give you a chance, but if you want to play for us, you're going to have to get to about 180 pounds. And so he redshirted 1 year. He gained about 15 pounds, and then he played his freshman year sparingly, but he gained about another 15 pounds. And so then he was kind of hovering around that 180 mark, and I said, look, if you want to play more, you got to get to 190. And he spent the whole summer drinking protein in the weight room and got to 190. And he should have been 6th man of the year in the Lone Star Conference this year. Came off the bench for us, but he is an absolute offensive spark plug off the bench. I think he had a game where he had 5 threes. He shot 45% from 3 on 62 makes. So, and that was as a sophomore. So he's got 2 good years left here in Hickory, and so excited to start my recruiting with some guys who are already familiar with what I want, and I think they'll be able to help us establish the culture right away.
You were talking about your team last year at East New Mexico. You built the program there. They had their best season, I think I remember, in like more than 3 decades, made the NCAA playoffs. And what you know about the LR roster, how far is LR away from contending for a conference championship and getting back into the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, not as far away as Eastern New Mexico was when I took it over. I can tell you that. This program's in better shape. I know Coach Sullivan's a very good man, and he recruited very good people in his program. And I've been really impressed with the the type of young man he has, and just the quality of human being that's on this roster. And I'm not going to give you a direct answer to your question, but I'm sure hoping sooner rather than later. But year one's always hard. I don't care who you are. Year one as a head coach, trying to change offenses, change defenses, kind of establish your culture. It's year one's always hard, but we'll see. We've got some recruiting left to do, and again, we're still kind of in the learning each other phase right now. I know there's some pretty dramatic changes with the style of play I want to have. We want to play really fast. We want to get up and down the court, and we scored over 90 points a game last year. That's my ideal pace, is really getting out and running. And so today we were doing our first transition drill, and they were kind of jogging it up the court, and I said, "Whoa, that's not what we do. We go. You got to really push that ball ahead and look to pitch it ahead and move it up the court as fast as possible and try to find an open shot." And so some of those things will just be an adjustment. Will take some time, but I think once we get that established and add some size, that's maybe my one concern with the roster right now is size, especially on the wings. We need bigger, stronger wings than what we have right now. So we'll be looking for that, and hopefully maybe add some pieces yet this spring or summer and see where it goes this fall.
I was going to ask you about with your team, and I just lost my thought there. Oh yeah, you grew up in Indiana, right? You've played and coached at Southern Indiana. That's a basketball crazed state. Was that part of the lure that had you come to another basketball crazed state like North Carolina?
Absolutely. I grew up 5 miles from the Indiana border, so I grew up in Illinois. But
okay,
my mom went to Indiana State while Larry Bird was playing there.
Wow.
And so that was I went to a lot of Indiana State games when I was growing up, and they actually made one tournament run to beat Oklahoma in the NCAA tournament one year, and I was in the Pyramid in Memphis watching them. And but we had some pretty good. I grew up in a place. This is a different Hickory, but the Hickory on the movie Hoosiers.
Yeah.
That I grew up in a place that was just like that. We had 1,400 people in our town, and we had a really, really good basketball team, and won about 78% of our games while I was my 4 years in high school. Had a great coach who really had an impact on my life, and it was the reason I wanted to become a coach. So then I go to Indiana, and I spent 15 years there, and I actually coached high school basketball in Indiana for 2 years, and I coached in the sectional game that had 4,000 people in the stands, and felt that craze. And then I went to New Mexico, and it's a little different out there. They will have one guy go on, one senior this year go on to play Division I basketball, and he's going to be a walk-on at New Mexico. And the rest of them are all pretty low-level guys, and so that was a little bit of a culture shock to me. So and obviously made it pretty difficult to in recruiting. So it's really exciting to be here, where I don't have to drive 7 hours to Dallas to get into where the talent is. There's talent all around here and right up the road every direction. So looking forward to hopefully a few more hours at home with my kids and a few less hours on the road, still finding some better talent.
Coach, we appreciate your time tonight, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you again. Coach Brent Owen, new head coach at Lenore Ryan. I like the things you're talking about. Some of the folks that have commented with our chat that we have here online, they like it as well. So best of luck, and we want to definitely keep up with you and how things are going.
Thank you so much, and yeah, I'll love to jump on here anytime. I'll come in studio or whatever you need me to do. I'd love to get the word out there as much as we can about this program and the direction it's going to go. So thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank you. We appreciate it, Coach Brett Owen.
Thank you, Coach.
He's a ball of fire. He's ready to go.
Is.
Did you know, I was looking up, is it Southern Indiana? Was that where he?
Yes, Southern Indiana University.
Did you know that was started by Indiana State as an offshoot campus?
Okay.
Originally.
Oh.
I was just
Yeah.
while you were talking, I like to go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I was watching, yeah.
Yeah. And it really didn't start until about 1985, if I read my stuff correctly. And then it just moved up to Division I. 22-23 was his first year that they moved up to Division I from Division II for Southern Indiana.
Okay. And he wasn't there. I guess he left right before.
Mhm.
Right before when
Right.
it was just simply Division II.
Right.
But him revealing that not only one but two 7-footers? I mean, that's, I don't say exciting. That's amazing.
I'm going to tell you
right?
something. I'll
that's
tell you what's
Twin
more than
Towers.
amazing that. If he's wanting to fast-pace the game and hit 90 points on a regular basis, hey, some big men going to have to move up and down the floor.
Yeah, well, those big men would be grabbing the rebounds and throwing into the outlet passes.
I guess. With the world we live in, with the way rosters change and stuff now, I like that when you've got players that are kind of married to the coach that, yeah, I like what he's doing. I follow him anywhere. That's the kind of players you want.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see, but it sounds like he hit the ground running. He's ready to go.
Yeah, 4 practices in, and it's trying to change some things around. Bears haven't been to the playoffs in about a half a dozen years.
Mm-hmm.
They have not won a conference championship in 15 years, I think, something like that. So there was a lot of, what's a good way to put it, hue and cry on the announcement of who was going to be the next head basketball coach at LR. There were some good guys that were definitely alums that were in the running, and yeah, it's refreshing to see that he seems to has to grasped all this and to have welcomed himself and his family into this area and say he wants to be part of it for a long time.
You pack up in 2 days and head this way, that's pretty good. That's a pretty big commitment right there.
Yes, it is.
My buddy Lenny said that Southern Indiana played Duke this past season.
Oh, in Division I. Okay.
Actually played him in Division I. So
interesting.
I
had not, to be honest with you, and I had not heard of Southern Indiana University.
Well, like I say, it only started in 1985.
Yeah.
If I did my
and I had not heard of Eastern New Mexico State either. But it makes sense. It's a state school.
Yeah. Southern Indiana, University of Southern Indiana is as well. I'm sorry, it was founded in 1965. But they have, it's a state school, 9,750 dual credit undergraduate, graduate, doctoral students in 130 different areas of study.
Yeah, first time that if Coach Owen's coaching at a private school at LR, and in I think New Mexico State was about 4,000 or 5,000, and you said Southern Indiana's 9,000. So yeah, this will be the smallest school that he's coached at.
So how this worked was, now that I'm reading it again, the school was founded in 1965 as Indiana State University, Evansville campus.
Yeah.
Okay, but in 1985 it became known as the University of Southern Indiana.
Okay.
When it broke off. From that.
It's like University of North Carolina at Asheville.
Yes. Yeah.
Or at Wilmington.
Yeah.
Same. I guess.
Or at Boone.
At Boone. Yeah.
UNCT. That's what they used to call it. They used to make fun of it. University of North Carolina.
Tweetsy. Yes. Okay.
All right, we're done.
You can say that because you're part Appalachian grad.
I got paperwork.
Yeah.
I got paperwork. Yep. It flew by, sir.
It did. It always does.
Maybe we can chat Wednesday morning.
Okay.
If you have time.
I'll be happy to.
Okay. All right, guys. Mr. Rembert will be in the morning. He will be late. He's got an early appointment, but we'll be on. So just hang in there. We'll get to you as soon as we can. Have a good one. Thank you, sir. See you guys.